Hello everyone, it is Friday night and as promised the question and answer video. I get a lot of questions from viewers as it relates to topics I discuss on the channel. Also things that are just off the comic books, road, which is, movies, sports, things of that nature. So I thought, like I stated yesterday, I'll do a video on that because I do get a lot of questions and, I appreciate the viewers and I thought, you know what, this is something that's been asked for a lot, so I'll do one of these. I couldn't get to everybody's questions. Again, I don't want this video to be super long, but again, I do appreciate all the viewers on the channel, so we will jump right into this. The first question comes from Retro Rookie, who asked me which comic or story got me really involved seriously into collecting comics. Now, I have touched bases on this before. It was a book called Blitzkrieg. It is a World War II comic as seen through the eyes of the Germans that came out in the 70s. And I had lived in a big apartment complex in La Mesa, which is a city outside of San Diego, East County. And, like most kids, we'd run down to the 7-Eleven, 75, 76, and we would go there, we'd buy our Slurpee, and we would look at the spinner rack, and whichever comic had the coolest cover, that's the comic you were usually drawn to. Because at that age, which is, you're 9, 10 years old, you're not thinking about artists and storylines and things like that. You just want something cool to read. So in this complex, there was a lot of young professionals, a lot of college students, with San Diego State being close by. And, there was a group of kids or, a group of college kids that lived in the apartment building across from us, across the compound or the complex. And they collected comic books and they would read these books to us, to the group of kids. And it was just really cool, but they would use the German accent when they read it. And so that was the book that I really remember having to rush down to the 7-Eleven and seeing if that next issue came out because I couldn't wait to hear the continuation of the story. Unfortunately, there was an apartment fire and the people who lived in that apartment were killed. And that's the first time I really felt loss of somebody. The first time you experience death, basically, where you actually miss somebody. And so because of that, Blitzkrieg #1 has always held a special place in my heart. I have several copies of that book, and it will always be the book that got me seriously involved in collecting comic books. So I hope that answered your question. Never could figure it out. Asked me a question, which is actually a very good question, is this: would I buy expensive books sight unseen? And if I would, what would be my cap, my financial cap? Now, if I'm going to buy expensive comic books, I'm one of those guys. I don't like to buy things like that online off of eBay. We've discussed that on the channel because I want to see the book and make sure that it's in a condition that I find acceptable for the value. Now, sometimes you're buying huge collections, things like that. You're basically basing the price of the collection on the few keys that you can find and then the overall amount of books that you do. So, as I have bought collections like that are kind of sight unseen, but as it relates to like a key issue that I'm going to pay big money for, I want to see that book in person. So there was that. I hope that answered your question. Keyline TV asked about Berserker, the book that came out yesterday, the Keanu Reeves book, asked me what I thought of it. I wasn't really impressed with the book. It was it's a typical, just kind of a John Wick type character, shoot 'em up, kill. But because of Keanu Reeves being involved in it, it already has been purchased for either a television or a movie right. So there was a lot of hype around the book, but they made so many of those books, like I stated yesterday. I was buying copies for $1. The 1 in 25s were going for cover price. So there's going to be no value there because it was just purchased so heavily. But again, the story didn't really grab me, so I don't even know if I'm even going to buy issue #2. Alex Mendoza asked me what the first book I bought was. And now I don't know what I can't remember the first book that I bought, but I do know it was a Sergeant Rock book. I don't know the exact issue. It was Sergeant Rock because, like I stated, when I was a kid, I was drawn to the war comics. And so I do know for a fact it was a Sergeant Rock because all I really bought back then was the war comics. Sergeant Rock, Sergeant Fury, Weird War, things, Blitzkrieg, things like that. So I'm going to say Sergeant Rock was my first book. And I still look for Golden Age Sergeant Rocks because I just absolutely love the old books. Another question I get from a lot of people actually, is about opening up a shop. Now, I've been saying this for a long time, and trust me, it's very frustrating for me. Last year, I had long discussions with my wife about, getting something opened up, and we were even in the process of kind of looking at areas or pinpointing areas in the Las Vegas Valley here that I wanted to open up. And then unfortunately, as everybody knows, the pandemic hit, and there was just no way that I'm going to open up a shop during a pandemic, because businesses, small businesses especially, are just being devastated by everything. And it's not good business to open anything up right now. I do want to open something up. I'm going to open something up. Timeline gets pushed back because of this here. It's frustrating for me because I want to get something going so bad. But at the same time, you have to be smart with your business sense. So right now is not the time to be opening up a shop. But there is going to be an Arkham Comics in Las Vegas. Mark my words on that. Caravan Ball, I hope I said that right, Caravan Ball. He wants to thank me and says, kudos on my grades. Well, again, my grading standards are a lot tougher than a lot of people, and I get a lot of flack for that. A lot of people give me a hard time about my grading standards, that I'm too tough. But there's a lot of people who like the fact that I'm tough. That, hey, you can be as tough as you want, because I know I'm going to get a good quality book at a good quality price. It's probably going to be a much higher grade than what you're giving it. That's just the way I learned to grade books. I learned to grade books difficult. Never be loose with your grades, because if you are a consistent grader and people like the grades that you're giving it, or they agree with the grades you're giving it, that's just going to be return business. The few times I have done shows here locally, which are the library shows, I'm setting up and there's a line of people already because they just want to get their hands on the books, because I am very, very particular about the condition of the books that I sell. And it's just good business to do that. So thank you so much. And I do get a lot of comments on the grades. Some comments aren't as nice as his, but thank you very much for that. King Cobra 78 asked me about books Noctera or Chariot. I have not read any of those books, and I have no plans of buying any of those books. So I can't really talk about them, because I don't know a whole lot about it. But I do thank you for the question on that. Pixel Forge and Joseph Donadio wanted to know what the comics were behind me. Now, a lot of people think that where that light is right now, that Wonder Woman light, is a bunch of comics. They're not comics. What they are prints and original artwork. And so I thought, you know what? You asked the questions. I'm going to show you what's hanging on those walls during the videos. First one up is Daryl Skelton. He is an artist here in Las Vegas. He's done a lot of comic book work. He's done a lot of comic strip work. And he did this piece for me here. This is my love for Friday the 13th, as you know, with my tattoos. He did this original piece for me here. It's a Jason coming out of the grave holding the mask up, because that's what Jason does. And so I have this here. This is from Daryl Skelton. Got it at a local show here, so one of my favorite pieces. Next one up is a Spider-Man print right here, signed by Romita Jr. Here's that right there. You can probably see where's his signature at on that? Right there, the JR right there. Really cool there. Next one up is one of my favorites. This is signed by Jim Starlin. This is the Death of Captain Marvel. This was a item that was sent to comic book stores when the storyline was coming out. You can still see the tape where they would tape it up onto the windows. This is an original release, and he signed it for me right there, and then he put a little bubble on there. I'm still dead, so I kind of like that right there. Again, I was able to purchase this from a friend of mine, and so I was very happy with that. So that's kind of cool there. Next up, Patrick Finch did his version of Zombie Tramp. I like Zombie Tramp, and this was one of his prints he was selling, so I grabbed that there. From Brian Polito, little Lady Death action. There's that right there. Little Christmas. So I add that. I pointed this one out. This is from a friend of mine, Vic Moya. Mora, excuse me, Vic Mora. And I always get his last name confused. Sorry, Vic. I know you're watching this channel. Sorry. I've been doing that for years. So they did a book called Testament. This is page 1. This is the original artwork for it. Page 1 from the book Testament right there. Absolutely love this here. And last but not least is an original artwork from Rubenstein, who of course did a fantastic Wolverine. Rubenstein, however you want to pronounce it. This was done in 2016. This is an original Wolverine he did for me. A really nice piece. Didn't charge me. I think I paid like $40 for this. The show was just no one was there. It was a very poorly run show, so it enabled me to get a really nice Wolverine piece right there. So I hope that answered your question on what sits behind the walls. So when you see them, now you know what they are. Let's see, Philly Bird. From Canada, thank you for sending it out. He wants to know if variant covers are ruining the industry, in my opinion, and what my thoughts are on second, third, fourth, fifth prints, and so on. I think that they make too many variant covers. We've discussed that in the past, because what happens is when they make all these variant covers, shops have to buy these. So, the days of having 1 or 2 covers of a book are over, because you have books, some of these coming out, 8, 10, 12 covers of a book. Shops got to buy those books, and it's going to be really tough if it continues to do that, especially in this day and age as it relates to the financial market. Shops can't do that, especially little shops. You have some of the real bigger shops that can do it, but a small mom and pop shop like mine's going to be, a real small shop, I'm not going to be able to buy every cover, and I'm not going to buy every cover. You have to look at the books. You got to pick, the 2 or 3 covers that you really like, and then just kind of go for that and hope that you pick the right one. And then as it relates to, the multi-prints, Something Is Killing the Children is a perfect example of, second, third, fourth, fifth prints and so on, bringing in huge money, because the limits on those, or the published amount, the amount of issues or copies that they made, was so limited that people just wanted to eat them up. Look at the prices of some of these. I mean, some of the 6 prints are going for $200. A lot of the 3rd and 4th prints are going for big money. So if the book is good, if the story is good, and the multiple printings come out, the first book I really remember having a lot of print runs on it was Killing Joke. And there was a ton of those. I don't know how many there are. There's like 13, 14 prints of that. So Something Is Killing the Children is a really good storyline. It had a lot of interest in it, especially when they announced the television rights. And so because of that, the multi-prints have some of the best looking covers out there. And so, Venom did that, Immortal Hulk did that. So, yeah, they can be good in a sense if the story is good and there is a big market for it. What do we have else? Michael B. Which horror comics are the best to collect? Well, I like 70s and pre-code horror. That's what I like. So I thought I would show a couple of horror comics. I wasn't going to really show a lot of comics, but I will. One of the ones I like, of course, Nick Cardy did a lot of these. This is from DC. This is Ghosts. It's a really good storyline. Also from the 70s, I really like Witching Hour. I like the Witching Hour. House of Mystery. And then if you start going into, you can still find those books fairly affordable in good grade. Some of the Witching Hours kind of get really expensive on that. But if you want to spend bigger money, then you start looking at things from the 40s, early 50s. Like this here, this is from 1953. This is a pre-code. This is Tales of Horror right here. The covers on these are absolutely amazing. That's what makes these books so desirable, is because the covers and the cover work is just really nice. So this is from 53. We have Web of Mystery. I don't remember the year on this one. Early 50s. But just, look at those covers. Those covers are absolutely fantastic on these books. Adventures into the Unknown. This is from 1952. Another pre-code. Classic cover. Look at that cover. How can you not love that cover? And if you're a kid and you got a dime in your hand and you're going to buy a comic book, what are you going to buy? You're going to buy something like this, because that's what kids like. That's also the reason why they have, the comics code, is because of covers like that. And then a lot of the more EC books, which are a lot more expensive, which are some of my favorite, Some of those covers are really wicked. And then this is from 1957. This is Black Magic. Again, just really, really cool covers on that. There's that there. So there was that. So I hope that answered your question. I love horror comics. I prefer pre-code or early 50s, but I've stated this in the past. Anything from the 70s as it relates to some of the horror titles are absolutely amazing. I mean, you have Nick Cardy, you have Bernie Wrightson, who just did some amazing covers. So, you know, and still, you can still get those. So that's what I like to go and buy there. You Murdered That Guy asked my opinion on Bad Idea. Now, Bad Idea is the one who released that book, ENIAC, yesterday. And now I thought it was a pretty good idea. They made people have to buy one cover or one copy. And so a lot of people don't like that, but that's their business model. And shops, you know, obviously, you know, bought them because we had, I think, 3 shops here in town that got the books, maybe 4. And across the country, I think there was only like 125 retailers that actually got the book. What that business is doing is they're making these books and they're making them sought after so people get excited for the additional releases and the additional stories that they're going to come out with for other books. Now, some of the shops you can buy one issue of #1, but you had to buy 2, 3, and 4 at the same time. That's just smart business. It might not agree with a lot of people. I think the people that were complaining the most about it were the flippers who wanted to buy it and then immediately flip it. You know, it's a $3.99 price point. Then they want to flip it for $100, get mad because they can only buy one copy, got mad because they don't want to buy 2, 3, and 4. They just want to make their fast money. So there were copies that weren't being sold because of that. So I think what this company wants is they want people who really want the book. Now, we know as it relates to, you know, things that are hot, it's going to sell really good. This book is going to settle down because they also released at the same time what they call not first print, which was it's kind of a weird way where they, you know, issued some first prints and not first prints. It's the first prints that are going for the big money. And so, you know, we'll see what happens. It's their business model. Obviously, it works so far. I don't think it's going to have a long-term positive effect for the company. I think the book is ultimately going to balance out the first issue, and it's probably going to balance out to about, you know, maybe $40, $50, maybe even lower than that. And then I got a question from a viewer who asked me, I think it was You Murdered That Guy as well, asked me about my opinion on Black Caravan. Black Caravan is kind of the horror arm of Scout Comics, and they came out with a couple books we've talked about here, which is Black Friday and Electric Black, 2 books that I really, really liked. And then they have an ash can of a book called We Don't Kill Spiders. Kind of like a Viking book, it kind of looked like to me, or a medieval style book. Now, I do like Electric Black. That has been picked up apparently for a television show. And I will wait and see additional issues of Black Friday, you know, when it comes out. But I did like the first issue of Black Friday. So there was that. Again, they also asked, you know, what sort of things also did I collect as a kid? Well, you know, as a kid, you'd get $1. You'd run down to the 7-Eleven. You would get your Slurpee in your collector Slurpee cup. This is from 1975, and it is a Dr. Doom, which I absolutely love. You would buy your comic books, you play pinball, you would buy whatever, baseball cards or football cards or hockey or non-sports. You know, I remember really looking forward to the Star Wars cards when they came out in '77, as well as Charlie's Angels cards when they came out, because I loved Jacqueline Smith. I still love Jacqueline Smith, absolutely beautiful woman. And then that just kind of grew into other movies, you know, Space 1999, Happy Days. Just if it had a card and as a pack, you would buy it and just put the cards away. That's what it was. And then the ones I really remember enjoying a lot were Kiss cards that came out, and I believe they came out in 1978. And I was just a huge fan of Kiss, and I just wanted as many Kiss cards as I can get. And again, back then, you know, 10, 15 cent packs, you'd get, you know, 10 to 15 cards in a pack, some bubble gum sticker. And so how could you go wrong with that? So again, it wasn't a real long video, but I do want to give a couple of shout outs to some viewers that are always have been supporting me in the channel for a very long time. That would be Clay Quartermain, who, you know, always has a nice thing to say. Tartan Phantom, who has been, commenting for years on this, Daz Clark, Aussie Shepherd, and then of course two of the longest running supporters. They supported me when I had my shop originally, and then they're always having nice things to say is Jeremy, you know who you are, and then Rudy, you know who you are. Again, appreciate everything that you guys do. Again, I kind of rambled on. I don't know if this is going to be an enjoyable video or not, but I wanted to get that out there because, again, like I stated, I love this comic book community. I love doing these videos, and I truly, truly appreciate all the viewers on this channel. So thank you so very much. There is a new comic book video coming out. Again, it's either going to be a Thursday or a Friday. I'll try to get them done on Thursday. Just depends on with everything going on. But again, thank you, thank you, thank you. If you're not a subscriber to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. If you are, hit the bell so you know when new videos come out. So with that said, I hope you liked the video, but as always, if you didn't, nothing I can do for you. Have a great night. Have a safe weekend, and I will see you real soon.